He was Captain Daniel. He was the safest pair of hands on the controls, the calmest voice over the intercom in times of turbulence. For the hundreds of passengers he ferried safely through the skies every month, he was a miracle worker. For the airline he worked for, he was the model employee, always punctual, always to the world. It seemed he had it all. The crisp, starched uniform, the easy confidence, the steady gaze. But behind the cockpit doors, away from the admiring glances of the flight attendants and the envious stares of the other pilots, he was just Daniel. And Daniel wrestled with doubts. Daniel worried about the mortgage. Daniel got scared when his daughter needed to talk about her first heartbreak. Daniel was just a regular guy, trying his best to keep his head above water, trying to be a good husband, a good father, a good son, a good friend. And he was failing at most of it. When he wasn't flying, he was sleeping, taking rest breaks in between so that he could fly again. His wife, Maria, shouldered the load of maintaining a house, shuttling kids to soccer practice, comforting a sick parent. She did it all without complaint, always making sure that when Daniel came home, he was greeted by a kiss and a hot meal. Sometimes when the kids were little, he would pretend to be surprised by this. "You didn't have to do all this," he would say. "Kissing Maria?" "I know," she would reply, squeezing his hand. "But I want to." He knew she was doing it not just out of love for him, but also out of a fierce sense of duty for their family. Their evenings together were spent talking about the mundane details of the day, a stolen kiss here, a shared joke there. Their weekends were spent with the kids, throwing frisbees in the park, teaching them how to ride a bike, reading them bedtime stories. But even these moments were tinged with melancholy. Because when Daniel was with his family, he was always counting the hours until he had to leave again, until he had to board a plane and chase the setting sun across the sky. How many birthdays would he miss? How many parent-teacher meetings? How many first dates? First heartbreaks? The question gnawed at him. Why had he become a pilot? All he wanted to do was spend his life building Legos with his son and braiding his daughter's hair. Yet here he was, hurtling through the skies, separated from his family by thousands of miles, sometimes even continents, on those long flights over the ocean, when the cabin lights were dimmed and the only sounds were the hum of the engines and the soft murmurs of the flight attendants. Daniel would look out into the endless expanse of the night sky, dotted with stars. He would trace constellations, make up stories about faraway planets and galaxies. And he would pray, not for fair skies or tailwinds, but for his children, for their health, their happiness, their peace. When the engines roared back to life and the plane began its descent, Daniel felt a familiar pang of regret. As the plane touched down and taxied to the gate, he watched the other passengers disembark. Families reunited, lovers embracing. He envied them, their normalcy, their everyday lives. Then one day, it happened. A storm, one of the worst he had ever seen, kept him and his plane grounded for days. No takeoffs, no landings, no roaring engines, no excited chatter of passengers, no anxious goodbyes. Just rain. Daniel spent those days at home, catching up on chores, playing board games with his kids, tucking them in at night. And he realized something. It wasn't the storm that had grounded him. It was his family that had anchored him. He was a pilot, yes, but he was also a husband and a father. He soared through the skies to bring people back to their loved ones. And when he landed, his destination wasn't the airport. It was home.